K-Nekotin. Where in the world have you been? Did you not receive Alma's summons? Principal Lexentale's research into the Auracite may finally have borne fruit. We must hurry to the Prima Vista before they embark on some grand and perilous adventure without us. In her message, Alma mentioned a guest from Charlian. Someone your companion Sid Garland believed might be able to assist the principal's research. An archetype, I think is the term she used.
If you would follow me to the shuttle, good lady.
Kaneko time, Lady Murat. Thank you for answering my summons. Master Garland was kind enough to send for an Archon from Charlian, and I thought it only right that you be present to hear her findings.
To be frank, summoning Mikoto was more Y'shtola's idea. I simply came along to see what light she could shed on this mystery.
I am Mikoto of House Jinba, a Doman, though my years in Charlian have made me a stranger here. You must be K-Nekotin Bane, fabled liberator of men. Slayer of false gods. Warrior of light, I thought you'd be taller. Let us speak of the crystal.
Ahem. The odious, one of but many Auracite shards that aided noble Delita's rise to regent.
My apologies. The odious is no ordinary crystal, even discounting its obvious historical importance. The specimen is more than a simple manifestation of elementally aspect energies, it is, rather, an ethereal lodestone whose facilitation of both the absorption and transmission of distinct frequency NR-type harmonic vibrations has been observed to promote ethereal amplification. The resultant neuroharmonic disturbance allows for a highly unique emittance of CPRS waves that, instead of radiating outward with a determinate factor of dispersal, instead resonate inward at a frequency so labored. My estimates place the rate of VRT decay at upwards of several centuries, though I must admit I lack sufficient variates to complete a truly comprehensive graphical assessment.
While that explanation may elicit admiring nods from your professors at the academy, it will earn you only blank looks here. Take a deep breath and try again, this time in a language those of us without the echo might comprehend.
My apologies. I merely thought.
Apologies will see us no nearer to an answer. A simpler explanation will.
Simpler. Right. Ether is not only the building block of all things material, but those immaterial as well. Thoughts, memories, feelings, one's very will are all understood to be ethereal phenomena, and can be measured as such. Unlike most crystals, which only can emit elemental energies. Auracite is tuned not only to absorb ether, but ether specific to the immaterial. That ether is then stored and multiplied within its crystalline confines until external stimuli precipitate release.
Try again.
Ahem. Under appropriate conditions, a strong will or desire can become imprinted upon the auracite and stored until fomentation, at which time the desire becomes manifest.
Fomentation.
What my studious young friend is trying to say is that the Odious takes one's deepest fantasies and makes them reality.
Ah. Yes. Yes, that is, simpler. You may choose to think of it as a process akin to that of summoning a primal. There being one marked difference, primal summoning requires a supplemental energy source, such as a horde of elementally charged crystals. Auracite, on the other hand, has the capacity to serve as its own source of power.
We know from the Duri papers that Argath was never king of Ivalice. He was slain in battle during the War of the Lions.
Yet the Argath encountered during the recent expedition carried himself as if he had been crowned regent. I believe this was merely the auracite in his possession making Manif, realizing his desire to rule. I am informed that he uttered the same words over and over again for the duration of the confrontation which unfolded. If that is the case, it is possible that it was not actually Argath who uttered them, but the auracite itself.
If the Duri papers are accurate, Argath was a weak and petty noble who believed that his blood entitled him to power. The auracite took that belief and twisted it into the abomination we, Kaneko put to the sword.
Then you are saying the crystal could prove a threat?
The auracite, Alma. And not necessarily. Ramza seemed to fare well enough. There is no record of the young regent being manipulated by the artifacts he gathered. In the hands of the just, the auracite should prove harmless, even beneficial. To paraphrase, it is not the weapon that kills, but the one who wilds it. Now where have I heard that before? Oh, yes. It was Emperor Galvas's justification for taking the marvels of Mahitake and applying them to the manufacture of arms. Where, after all, was the harm if it allowed him to bring order to the three great continents?
You draw an intriguing parallel, Master Garlund. The properties of these crystals are so singular, I do begin to wonder if they, like Mahitake, are products of science and not nature. That they were created by someone too.
But who? What manner of person would even be capable of such a feat?
Now that is an interesting question, the answer to which I look forward to hearing. Regrettably, I have pressing matters to attend to elsewhere. Fear not, however, Mikoto's insight will prove far more beneficial than anything I might accidentally contribute. Good day to you all.
What I don't understand is, if the Duma was imprinted with Argath's deepest desires, then whose desires are rattling about inside the Odious?
I had the self-same question, and thus conducted a thorough inspection of the crystal upon my arrival. The results were inconclusive. Traces of ethereal activity were present, but to all intents and purposes, the vessel was empty.
Empty. But what of the voices I heard?
Voices? I heard nothing of the sort. The only voices you heard, Alma, were in your stubborn head.
Ramza, why won't you?
Shall we speak of voices then? What of yours, Alma? Our resident voice of dissent. You have done naught but question the wisdom of our research from the moment we left Garlemald. Would you put your petty worries above our family's calling?
No. I would never.
You would never. Then why involve a gossip monger, a goody two-shoes, and this flying mole? Please tell me you can see that.
Ah. A Mughal. Yes.
Don't just stand there, get rid of the thing. You're the liberator. Liberate this vessel of that pest.
It's like nothing I have ever seen before. Can we keep it?
Most intriguing. Is it alive?
A Mughal. And a decidedly dusty one at that. Might this be one of your acquaintances, Kanekotin?
Am I interrupting? Oh, please do go on. My acceptance into your fine troops' ranks can wait until all have said their piece. Kupo.
Guards. Get this.
Mont Blanc. The name is Mont Blanc. Denizen of Dalmascus deserts, seeker of thrills, adventurer extraordinaire. But you may call me Mont Blanc, Kupo.
Dalmasca has long been known as a melting pot for myriad cultures, where minor races such as the Sikh, the Bangad and the Vieram might live in relative harmony with Iyer, Elysian, and others. Yet there is no record of a prominent Mughal population.
Most likely because we are neither prominent nor populous. My people are nomadic by nature, ever drawn to the elusive frontier and the freedom she promises, Kupo.
Mughal.
Of course I'm a Mughal, Kupo. You'd think the adorable wings and the fluffy palm would have given it away. Now, about my admission to the Majestic.
I will allow no such thing. The Majestic is the Empire's premier theatre company. We will not sully its good name by granting refuge to a fluttering ball of fur. And furthermore, how in the world did this abomination board the Prima Vista in the first place?
By means of his wings, were I to guess. As for his admission to our company, I do not seem to recall race, creed, or allegiance on my list of prerequisites, do you?
No, father.
Very well, then. Mont Blanc, what is it exactly that calls you to the stage, our stage?
What else? The Zodiac Brave story, Kyoko. Never before have I witnessed something so amazing. So moving. Sitting, well, technically hovering there in the audience as the story unfolded around me, I knew I was witnessing something special. Something positively transcendental, Kyoko. It was then that I realized I either had to be a part of it, or go to my grave a bitter and broken Moogle.
Was this realization before or after you swore you simply had to become the realm's greatest marauder, Kyoko?
Herdy. How did you?
Perhaps you'd have more success at running away if you didn't reveal your grand designs to every other fool you happen to meet, Kyoko. Was it not but 20 nights ago you took up the axe, Kyoko? Now here you are professing your passion for the stage before carving even a single notch in your haft? Do you not remember, to he who churns the butter goes the sweetest bread?
But how is one to savor said buttered bread if his head is in the belly of a fearsome beast? You accuse me of giving up when I merely came to the realization that continuing would end in failure. Only through a change of course could I reach my final destination, Kyoko.
And that destination is what? Mummer. Are you sure it is not Geomancer? Arithmetician? Templar? Do not bother answering, Kyoko, we all know you'll be singing a different tune come cock crow.
That is where you are mistaken, Herdy. I was destined to be a thespian. I can feel it in my fur. The role of Delita was made for me. Made for me, Kyoko.
Kyoko. Enough. The actors in our company trained at the Empire's finest institutes. They represent the pinnacle of the profession not only in Garlemald, but across the entire world. A vagrant batmole like you could never hope to share a stage with such artists, let alone play the part of a hero like Delita. You yourself admitted you were too craven to face a solitary beast. How do you imagine you would fare against a pack of theatre critics? Any troupe would need proof of valor before it could even consider.
Craven. Call me a cheat and call me cur, but do not, sir, call me Craven. I accept your challenge, slay but one foul beast by mine own hand, and the majestic theater company will accept me into its ranks, Kyoko.
Wait, I issued no such.
You are all here witnesses, Kyoko. When I return with the head of a terrible beast in my gore-stained hands, you will be honor-bound to welcome me, Mont Blanc the Mummerer, into the fabled ranks of the majestic. Good day.
Wonderful. What do we do now?
What do? We do nothing. If that batmole wishes to throw himself on the horns of a stampeding zoo, I will not stand in his way.
I believe the proper term of derogation is mole bat, and I should warn you, Muggles do not take kindly to those who use it.
Why must you always put yourself above others, brother? Did you learn nothing from Argath's wretched example?
Mont Blanc would never have set off on this fool's errand had you not made the challenge. If anything befalls my brother, his blood will be on your hands.
Kaneko time. You are the only one among us capable of locating Mont Blanc and preventing disaster. On behalf of my brother, I beg your assistance.
I apologize. I must learn to control my anger. But sometimes, it can be difficult.
Shortly after arriving here, I was presented with a study which suggested that consuming large quantities of honey improved brain function. The results were so compelling that I almost felt moved to try, until, that is, I saw the work had been commissioned by one of Eorzea's foremost confectioners. It made me long to return to Charlie. Forgive me. Was there aught else you wished to ask? In simple terms, I know. From what I have been able to discern, Orisite displays the uncanny ability to draw upon the will of its possessor and manipulate the formless ether into a corporeal manifestation. The resultant form can be maintained for as long as there is ether to sustain it. Principal Jenomis has recently uncovered evidence which appears to corroborate my suspicion that Orisite is not a naturally occurring substance, but one created to serve a purpose, albeit a purpose I have yet to identify. Despite being in the principal's possession for an extended period, the Odious exhibits none of the ethereal imprinting present in the Duma. In other words, the Orisite has yet to absorb any of Lord Jenomis' ether. It is, for want of a better description, empty. Be that as it may, we still have no idea how it might be filled, its creators having neglected to include a removable stopper. Ahem. As you saw in the ruins of Lysalia, the Duma makes manifest the desires of its owner, on that occasion, Argath Thadolphus. When you defeated the would-be king, his ether was released from the Orisite and the attunement broken, rendering the crystal empty once more.
However did Ramza come to be so thoroughly obnoxious? He and his sister couldn't be more different.
Muggles are prominent players in Ivalician legend, but none of the tales mention their capacity for flight. Something lost in translation, perhaps.
You saw the poor Muggle. He won't last a day on his own. You must find him and bring him back. I beg of you.
My brother can be rather simple-minded when it comes to such matters. Thinking to impress the Warrior of Light and her companions, Mont Blanc would likely choose the scene of your recent exploits to prove his worth, meaning Rabanastre, if I am not mistaken.
Pardon my language, but that Ramza really is an incurable little prick, is he not? How dare he speak to his sister and the Muggle in that manner? I couldn't decide which was worse, the things he said, or the way the principal sat back and let him say them. But I suppose it is none of our concern. For now, let us concentrate on the task at hand, finding that Muggle before he does something we'll all regret. What say we start nearby? Pier 2, perhaps?
Shortly after arriving here, I was presented with a study which suggested that consuming large quantities of honey improved brain function. The results were so compelling that I almost felt moved to try, until, that is, I saw the work had been commissioned by one of Eorzea's foremost confectioners. It made me long to return to Charlie. Forgive me. Was there aught else you wished to ask?
The Falcon Porter tells us that he sent a traveling blacksmith away to Yangtze and not a bell passed. And why would that be of interest to us, you ask? Because said peddler of iron and steel was seen to be carrying a bag stuffed to the brim with, and I quote, albino mole fur and purple bat wings.
Mont Blanc. Not that we look like that, Kyoto.
The quickest route into Dalmascans is via the One River and its western tributaries. If Mont Blanc is bound for Rabanastre, he will seek passage from the glittering basin.
Mont Blanc. What were you thinking?
Have you any idea what you put your brother through? He has been worried sick.
Both Hardy and Ramza were right all along. I am a failure. A flop. A flailing flapping foppish failure, Cupo. How could I play the part of a hero if I cannot even ruffle the feathers of a single measly bird? The audience would see right through me like the spineless jellyfish I am.
Now wait, Mont Blanc. Not everyone can be a hero, not even most heroes. Yes, the bards sing of the man who deals the final blow, but what of his cotter of loyal companions? Do you think Delita united Ivalice on his own? Do you think Kaneko here was alone when she liberated All Amigo?
But of course they are not. Every campaign needs its brilliant architect, the mastermind who moves the pieces across the board. I, Montblanc, can be that mastermind.
That was quick.
Let us not dwell on the details. The day is saved, and Montblanc has escaped sans scratch or singe to show for it. We should return to the Prima Vista before our luck runs out.
Do you seek passage to the Prima Vista?
Please. This ship is a place of peace.
Release my sister or you will answer to me.
When the cat's away.
Put that damnable thing down, Ramza. You're not helping matters. We have no quarrel with you or yours. We only seek aid in finding our leader, B.A. Gamnon.
You seek our help. You who threatened to kill my father. Who stole his work and made fools of us all. Never.
Silence, Ramza. They have Alma. We will hear what they have to say. As I said, we have no quarrel with you. We only did what was necessary to secure an audience. We surrender our weapons and offer your journal as an act of good faith. This is all rather a lot to digest. But your claims do coincide with what we have learned about the Oricide.
You're saying that Crystal did something to our captain.
After being emptied of Argath's wool, the Duma sought that of another to sate its appetite for ether.
You're saying that Crystal ate our captain.
Not his body, no. Only his soul.
His soul.
Tell me, what in your opinion was your leader's deepest desire? What was it that he longed for above all else in the world?
Why waste your breath reasoning with these lizards? They showed themselves for the beasts they are when they put a knife to your throat. First mole bats, now lizards. This one's tongue is pure poison.
The boy can call us what he pleases. For our past failings, we deserve no better. Your failings. 30 summers have come and gone, yet not a night goes by that I do not wake in sweat at the memory.
We were fusiliers in the Dalmascan army, stationed in the royal stronghold at Nalbina.
Nalbina fortress was reputed to be impenetrable. Its fall to the Ivth Legion proved a turning point in the Imperial campaign, dealing a crushing blow to Dalmascan morale and ultimately marking the beginning of the kingdom's end. B.A. Gamnon was our captain, and once it was clear the day would not be ours, Prince Rassler, commander of the garrison at Nalbina, tasked him with one final mission. Our unit was to escort His Highness's twin sister, the Princess Ashalaya, away from the fortress and thence to safety. But, things did not go as planned.
I still remember the words she uttered as she lay dying in the captain's arms but a stone's throw from where the Garum Sith waterway drains into the sea. Even as the fog of death descended upon her, she smiled and told us, the very people who had failed her, to survive, for as long as even a single Dalmascan stood, our nation would never truly perish.
But it should not have been us who survived. By failing to protect our charge, we betrayed the princess and her memory, and brought shame upon our race. So yes, we are naught but cold-blooded lizards deserving of whatever scorn you deign to heap on us.
I think we may safely assume a deep-seated hatred towards the invaders of his homeland, coupled with self-loathing born from a sense of powerlessness. The darkness that lurks in the heart of B.A. Gamnon is little different from that which drove Argath, the self-same emotions that were to nourish the Duma.
Stop speaking in riddles, Charlian.
She's saying your brave captain will eventually turn into a monster, or rather, more of one. Garlean lies.
What they say is true. If we do not find B.A. Gamnon and the Duma soon, none of us are safe, present company included. Do you have any idea where he might have gone? Any at all?
Wait, look at this. Something has been added to the final page of my journal. Then the captain must have put it there. Only he had access to it, until we found it in the pack he left behind, that is.
Is this Dalmascan?
Indeed it is. It says Ridorana.
The lighthouse. Why would he write that, and in the old man's journal no less?
There is a place on the Valnard Sea, far to the south of Rabanastre, where the ocean tumbles into a gaping maw more than a malm across, the Ridorana cataract. Legend would have us believe that it is the entrance to the hell of water. Many a scholar seeking to prove otherwise has descended into the chasm, some even by airship, but not a one has returned.
Do I know of Ridorana? Of course I know of Ridorana. Now, have I been there? No. Cannot say that I have, Cupid.
Ridorana. If it were up to me, we'd never go near the place. You see, we desert Muggles are not, how would you say, in our element around water. Alright, we cannot swim. Sink like sledgehammers, we do, Kyopo.
We Panga live long. Any other race would think it a blessing, but to me and mine it is a curse. More summers mean more suffering.
It is all true. My brothers and I were fusiliers to the royal family, and B.A. Gamden was our captain. We only laid down our flintlocks once we realized our failure.
Ever since laying hands on the Duma, B.A. Gamden has acted strangely. He began speaking to the stone as if it were Prince Razla himself. At first, my brothers and I thought it was in jest, but he continued long after he thought us all abed. Tell me, is Ridorana truly as magnificent as they say? HM. You have never been there. And there I was thinking you might have something to contribute.
The Banga who took us hostage were once royal fusiliers. Whatever could have driven them to this life of villainy?
It appears yesterday's enemy is tomorrow's friend, but then, where does that leave us today?
All that I know about Ridorana, I learned during my lessons on Dalmascan geography, but no mention was made of Ivalician legend. While Principal Jenomis seems convinced of a connection, I believe I shall reserve judgment until more is known. Is there aught else you would like to ask of me? There is a place on the Valnard Sea, far to the south of Rabanastre, where the ocean tumbles into a gaping maw more than a malm across, the Ridorana cataract. Legend would have us believe that it is the entrance to the hell of water. Many a scholar seeking to prove otherwise has descended into the chasm, some even by airship, but not a one has returned. Balanced on the lip of the raging gulf sits a tiny islet atop which rises an ancient lighthouse, its origins unknown. For centuries, the tower was manned by Dalmascan candle keeps who labored from dusk till dawn to warn sailors of the perilous drop. Since the kingdom's annexation, however, the structure has lain vacant, assuming it has not been claimed by the island's wildlife.
I must admit to knowing little of Ridorana save that which Lady Mikato shared with us. Before we expend valuable time and resources traveling to so remote a place, I must review my notes and see if there is any mention of the abyss. We shall share our findings as soon as we learn aught of interest.